Apple agreed to dish out $95 million last week to settle a lawsuit alleging Siri collected and shared what she heard with third parties.
For 10 years, Apple secretly activated the Siri on mobile devices to record people's conversations.
Some of the recorded conversations were then shared with advertisers in an attempt to sell their products. Apple will pay $95 million to settle a lawsuit accusing the company of using Siri to eavesdrop on iPhone users. Proposed settlement now would result a 5-year lawsuit revolving around allegations that Apple activated the virtual assistant to record conversations. The alleged recordings happened even when people didn't seek to use the feature by saying the words, "Hey Siri." Some of the recorded conversations were then shared with advertisers in an attempt to sell their products to consumers more likely to be interested in their goods and services. Chief Legal Analyst Kelly Rhodes is here to be able to talk about all this. I mean, I must have had so many text messages today saying, oh, Apple has a settlement. Everybody wants to hear about the story. How was this uncovered?
This was uncovered because a whistleblower threw a red flag on the play and said, look, Apple knows and has already knew that this is something that's been happening and they aren't doing anything about it. Like we said in the lead-in, started 2019. They brought this to the attention of investigators, brought this to the attention of Congress. They looked into it. At the time, Apple said it's only a small amount. The whistleblower said, no, it's not a small amount. It happens even on the smallest thing like a zipper. If a zipper goes off, Siri will then indicate that it's listening and it will record those conversations. That is extremely problematic because Apple was denying, A, that it was happening, and it was something that was small is what they were saying in their mind. But I got to say this, and I always own it. My mother-in-law was right. She said it for years. I think these devices are listening. And I would always say, no, they're not. Today, I found out that, yes, Apple was listening and the device were listening. So I own it.
I mean, Khalif, when you think about it, all of a sudden I might say, hey, that red dress that was made by this person. Then all of a sudden that night you get a message or an email and you're like, how did that happen?
You are dead on point.
It makes you think about it.
In the complaint, they say that. The two individuals say that we were having a conversation about a dress and sneakers. And then all of a sudden I get an email saying, hey, how about this dress? How about those sneakers? The exact same ones they were talking about. That's what made them think further that something was wrong. But by all means, this is problematic for Apple. The settlement is small in terms of what they make on an annual basis, but it is something that the users, me included, have an iPhone. Anyone that has an iPhone through that time frame can get access to the settlement.
Okay, we got to talk about the money because that's what everybody wants to know. How do I file a claim? Does this involve me? And you know, when you talk about Apple products, I mean, like just have an iPad here, you have an iPhone, you have so many Apple products. How does this work? How can people file a settlement or get part of this money? Explain all that.
So what I looked at online is that everyone would get access to the thing that used to the settlement that used the device from 2014 to 2024. So that's a long time frame. You file it through, and once you file it, you'll get $20. So that's not a big amount. But the mission that this is happening, the mission that this is something that shouldn't be happening is problematic. But all this is hinging on the judge agreeing to this.
Did y'all just hear that? $20.
Settlement. This isn't a guaranteed done deal. One party's coming together, the other party's coming together off the time. That's great. I do that all the time. The judge is the person that has the last say. If the judge rejects the settlement, which we've seen in the past, look at the Sackler agreement with the opiate crisis, judge rejected.
Right.
UFC settlement, judge rejected it. So that can happen a lot. MasterCard, Visa, major settlement, $30 billion, judge rejected it. If the judge feels like it's too light, that the settlement isn't something that was supposed to happen, they'll kick it back to the parties to come with a good agreement.
All right, we got to talk about that red dress and those sneakers, because back to that, if you made me think that I want to buy these, now could the advertisers have any legal action that might makes you think, because you're having me think about these things, buy these things. Now my husband's complaining why we're in debt.
What I can say is for sure that if I'm the attorneys representing the original settlement in discovery, they would have gotten the third parties that received this information. So now they know if those third parties receive some unjust enrichment, that they wouldn't have known that you had an interest. And now because you've got an interest and now you ultimately hit that purchase button, yes, I think they could be liable, or at the very minimum have to return some of those funds back because it's unjust enrichment. You would have never got access to me as a customer had you not received my information illegally. So I am for sure, if I'm representing them, they're my next target.
Right. Now, Khalif did say $20, right? But it's $20 per device. So that $20 can add up because an iPhone and an iPad.
Okay.
Any of the
$20. Man, only $20? That's crazy. But now I want you to watch this video right here. It's going to help you protect your privacy.
iOS 17 and new features like name drop, share play. A lot of you guys had concern in regards to a lot of these sharing options on your iPhone. So in today's video, I want to go over a few privacy settings on your iPhone that you need to turn off or even consider turning off for privacy reasons. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So all the features I'll be talking about today are already turned on your iPhone, whether you know it or not. Apple has already enabled these features by default. However, I think Apple should be asking users before they enable these features automatically. And I want to start off with Apple Music and SharePlay. Have you ever jumped into someone's car and then you get on the bottom of your lock screen this request here to start SharePlay? Well, this feature is really cool, right? Because someone in your contacts can discover you and request to SharePlay in the vehicle, which allows them to control the music as well. But if you don't want them to discover you, all you have to do is go into settings, jump into music, scroll all the way to the bottom, and right there it is, discoverable by nearby contacts. This option here, if you turn this off, no one in your contacts will be able to request any SharePlay features for Apple Music in the vehicle. I think it's sort of annoying to get the pop-up every time you jump into someone's car, but if you want to turn that off, that is how you do it. Now, the next feature I want to talk about is a really cool iOS 17 feature you probably already know about. It is name drop. Now, name drop allows you to swap contact information with another iOS user by simply holding two iPhones next to each other. But this feature is on by default, and not everyone uses the feature. By the way, if you turn this off, it could help you save a little bit of battery life. So here's how it works. Obviously, if you by accident place two iPhones next to each other, the name drop feature could trigger automatically on your device without you even knowing. So right now you see I have these two iPhones sitting next to each other, and in about 5 seconds, they start that name drop request. Now, again, you can share things like phone number and email, photos and videos and things of that nature, but it just continues to go. It gets so annoying at times when two iPhones are just sitting next to each other. Now, keep in mind, name drop is not sharing any information whatsoever with another user without your consent, but it can get really annoying. So you want to go into settings, general, name drop, and if you want to go ahead and turn this off, right there it is, bring devices together. So again, that's going to be settings, general, airdrop, excuse me, and then right there you want to turn off bring devices together. Now, once you hold two iPhones next to each other or place them next to each other or one another, you see right there that name drop does not enable on your iPhone. There's no request happening there. So yeah, name drop is a feature that's on by default, so make sure you turn it off if you don't like it or use it, and it'll help you save a little bit of battery life as well. Now, the next feature I want to talk about, this one has been somewhat controversial, and it has to do with Apple's Journal application. It is the feature under privacy discoverable by others. So if we go into settings and we go into the privacy and security options and we scroll down, you find the journal suggestions. Now, Apple mentions that this feature does not share your personal information with others. It only prioritizes their suggestions for the Apple Journal application. However, a lot of users seem concerned because discoverable by others means others will know you're around. So how is the phone actually prioritizing their suggestions and things of that nature based on your device? But Apple says your information is not being shared. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So if you don't feel comfortable, you can turn it off right there for Journal. And if you don't even use the Journal application, obviously, all you want to do is just make sure you delete the Journal app and you get rid of the issue altogether. But yeah, if you do use Journal and don't want that discoverable by other feature to be enabled, you can turn it off right there under privacy in a journal suggestion. So this one again was a bit controversial because of its nature. Now, two additional options that I think you should definitely look into or even turn off immediately after watching this video. I think Apple should always ask users in regards to these two options. Number one, privacy and security, location services. You want to scroll all the way to the bottom. Right here we have system services, and I've always mentioned this one right there, significant location. This is a feature that's constantly tracking you everywhere you go to give you suggestions and relevant information with an app.
Did y'all know about this? This is
Apple Maps and things like that, but it is a privacy violation in my opinion. Apple needs to be asking users, do you want significant location to be turned on? Because if I go into this option here, right now you see that it's recorded 406 locations where I've been. I think that is kind of not cool, and I think Apple should be letting users know significant location is enabled, although Apple mentions that this feature and information cannot be shared with others or viewed by Apple. I think Apple still needs to be a little more transparent and explain those significant location options, what is used for, and ask users if they want to enable the option or not. And last but not least, we want to go into privacy once again, and then you want to go into tracking. So this option up top here is on by default, allow apps to request to track. So if you want apps to track you, obviously you want to enable this options down here for each individual application. However, if you no longer want any app to automatically track you or even request to track, you can turn this option off and all requests will automatically be denied for any app in the future as well. Obviously, I don't think anyone wants any app to track them across their products and services and website. I think this option should just be turned off by default, but Apple enables it on your iPhone. And these are going to be a handful of settings and privacy features on your iPhone you should definitely look into and perhaps even turn off after watching this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.